Hello and welcome to a Talmud Israeli production. Today we'll review the highlights of this week's course of Daf Yomi study, Masechet Moed Katan, pages 4 through 10. Page 4. Amar Rav Ashi, Rabban Gamliel Beidino, Savar Lak Rabbi Yishmael, Amar Hilchata Gamirla. So the question is whether or not the status of plowing prohibitions in advance of the Shemitah year, the sabbatical year, have the status of Torah law or that of rabbinic law. And Rav Ashi says that Rabban Gamliel and his court, which overturned some of the existing rules about plowing in the sixth year of the sabbatical cycle, he held like Rabbi Yishmael that the original basis for the law was a halacha l'Moshe Sinai. And when does the halacha l'Moshe Sinai, the law of Moses at Sinai, take hold? When does it apply? Only when the temple stands. Similar to the story of the water libation on Sukkot. But when the temple does not stand low, it no longer applies. So the rules concerning plowing in the sixth year about not plowing after Pesach or after Shavuot for various types of fields was abolished because the halacha l'Moshe Sinai no longer stood either. And so therefore, in a post-temple environment, it was a very relaxed approach to the pre-Shemitah year. Daf 5. V'tamei tamei yikra. The Mitzorah is told by the Torah to cry out, I'm impure, I'm impure. The question is, what purpose does that serve? Tuma Kermes Prosh. Well, one explanation is that the person who is Tamei does not want to be the reason why other people contract impurity, and so therefore he cries out and says, don't go near me, don't go near me, I'm impure, stay away. Alternatively, he has to announce his troubles to the public so that the public will then pray for him. That we are compassionate people, we care about others, and if we know someone is suffering, we will pray for their well-being and their salvation. But if we don't know that they're suffering, then we won't know to pray for them. So therefore he has to be open and honest and out loud about his predicament. Davav. Why is it that the agents of the court go out on Chol HaMoed to uproot kilayim, prohibited admixtures, from the field? Why not do that the week before Pesach, the week after Pesach? I mean, why specifically Chol HaMoed? Well, the answer is because it's cheaper to hire employees to do this kind of work on Chol HaMoed when they're otherwise not occupied with their regular professions than it would be to do it any other week of the year. And we see from here what? That who pays for these workers? It's being paid for by temple funds, the Trumas Halishka. And so since we don't want to cause a needless expense for the temple, for the Jewish people as a whole, we do these activities, or this specific Kilayim activity, at a time when it will cost the least amount. Daf Zayin. Chatan shnolad lo nega, not mosheviz me'amishta, lo beitoluk suto. What happens if a groom contracts tzarat at roughly around the time of his wedding, and it's going to ruin the celebration? Well, we do not investigate the status of his tzarat for the 7 days of the celebration, the Shivas Yamei Mishta. Not for him, not for his household, not for his garment. Why? Because we don't want to ruin the party, ruin the simcha. V'chein b'regel, similarly on a pilgrimage festival, notin lo shivas me'aregel. So says Rabbi Yehuda that for a pilgrimage festival, we'll give the person the whole week of the holiday. They came all the way to Jerusalem from a faraway place. We don't want to ruin their religious experience. Rabbi Omer, but Rabbi says, behold, it says regarding the household tzaras that the Kohen commands for all the stuff, the material possessions of the household to be removed before he condemns the house. So if we can postpone the declaration of impurity for a discretionary matter like saving your material possessions, then all the more so we can postpone a declaration of impurity when you have come to do a mitzvah, whether it is the celebration of the bride and groom or pilgrimage to Jerusalem on Aliyah Regel. Daf Chet, page 8. Lo ya'or adam al meito, lo yaspidenu kol regel shloshim yom. So a person should not arouse sadness and crying over his lost loved one who died a month or two earlier within 30 days of the holiday, of the regel. So here we're talking about a situation where the death was not in the past day or so. The death was a while back. And yet now we're on the verge of celebrating the holiday, and we don't want you to recall this deceased loved one through wailing and professional eulogizing at that moment. Why not? So the Gemara gives a story. Maaseh bar Mechad shekines maus laus l'regel balu saftin v'amad, apatach beitov v'natan lo v'nimna lo Allah. So what happened was one time a person had collected a lot of money to pay for his aliyah regel, going on pilgrimage to Jerusalem, and comes along a professional eulogizer and knocks on his door, and he paid the guy a fee for eulogizing his loved one, and the eulogy was so over the top, so wonderful that all the money went to this eulogizer, and lo and behold, the person who was supposed to go on aliyah regel now didn't have the money to do so. So what did the sages declare? That you should not eulogize a loved one within 30 days of the holiday if it's an old loss. Why? Because we're afraid this sort of thing will happen and you'll lose out on your experience in Yerushalayim. Daf Tet, page 9. Ota shana lo asu Yisrael Yom Kippurim. The year when Shlomo HaMelech dedicated the first Beit HaMikdash, the Jewish people did not observe Yom Kippur. Why? Because the celebration of the dedication lasted for 14 days and began early in the month of Tishrei and was inclusive of Yom Kippur, so they didn't fast. They were busy partying. What happened? But then the people thought to themselves, you know what? Maybe we did the wrong thing. Maybe we're deserving of being destroyed on account of violating the rules of Yom Kippur. Yatzda bat kol ve'amra. So a heavenly voice came out and said, you're all going to be destined for the world to come. Meaning, don't worry, don't be scared about what happened. You did the right thing, it's behind you, and you're all going to go to heaven. Daf Yud. Amar Rav, frakmatia kol shuhu aser. So Rav said that on Chol HaMoed, any frakmatia, which means commercial dealings, buying and selling for the sake of generating a profit, you're not allowed to do this Chol HaMoed. Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Avin, v'davar ha'avin mutter. However, with a matter of loss, where the price is good right now, and if I strike while the iron is hot, if I make my sale now, I'll earn a tidy sum, whereas I will lose it if I wait another week. Then I can act on Chol HaMoed. So Rashi explains, we're talking about schora. We're not talking about where you're a customer, a retail customer, to buy an item that you need, but rather where this has nothing to do with what you need. This is just a means of making money. And so, in Rav's view, there are no leniencies, whereas in Rabbi Yossi bar Avin's view, no, there's a leniency if you would lose out if this transaction did not take place now. Everyone have a great week.